to the champion. We already know that's going in the direction of Alex Zanardi, with $1 million at stake here today. Roger Penske's facility that was used for the first time at the end of the 1997 season, and on that occasion it was the British driver Mark Blundell who came through to take the win. It is going to be an incredibly unpredictable race. For the second time this season, the Hanford wing will be used. There will be incredible amount of overtaking, passing and repassing. So we're looking forward to an incredible season finale here in California. But the man who's champion is Alex Zanardi. Let's take this opportunity to find out a little bit more about the Italian.
What we have here in Southern California, at California Speedway, is Larry.
Who is Alessandro Zanardi? Well, good question. I don't think there is any difference between Zanardi, the man, and the driver. I think I'm a normal man. I really like to respect other people because I like to be respected, and I don't like to take order from anybody. I don't give, but I don't like to take, and I really like a straightforward relationship with people. I like to win. I mean, this is what it's all about, but not at all cost. I really enjoy when people makes me the kind of compliment that is, Alex, you've remained the same kind of guy you used to be when you race go-karts, but I don't know, maybe we should really ask somebody else.
When I first met him in 1995 in New Hampshire at the race, I knew then that he is much more than just one of these young race drivers today that are like a robot, or they read the book on how to be a race driver, and that's not Alex at all.
Good friend. He's got a big heart, you know. It's a good friend, and it's very warm inside, and you know, we've developed a good friendship, and I think which is unique in a racing team. Usually there's a lot of competition between the two drivers, but I'm sure we race hard against each other, but there's no mean-spirited competition. I feel that he's very happy when I do well, and I'm happy for him when he does well, so it's a good relationship.
Have they been too nice to me? Well, if yes, don't believe at all they said. Popularity has changed a little bit, yes, not so much, but it has changed, I have to say. Like on the past 2 seasons, it happened very, very rarely that that somebody would recognize me down the street on normal clothes. Now it's happening more often. I don't know. For American people, it is really easy to get on together, and they like to communicate. For instance, I've seen people meeting on the elevator, and by the time that they would get down to the lobby, they look like big buddies, and they go out for dinner together. Well, if they would call me Alessandro rather than Alex, maybe I would feel home a little bit more. Whenever I can, I come back here in the old continent, whatever is Monte Carlo, Italy, just to have my own time, to do my own things, different than racing, just to switch off. Over here, I don't really do anything special, but just something for myself. I mean, really something that I can enjoy with the people that I love, not simply my family, but also my friends. Even if I like to do a lot of things to relax and to enjoy myself, I always keep an eye on my physical training because it's important. Our sports require a certain fitness preparation, so together with jogging I always spend a little bit of time in the gym doing some exercise that may be pretty useful on my Sunday afternoon of work. Unfortunately, these periods are really short, 4 or 5 days maximum. Then we come back to America.
Qualifying here in Fontana is all about just getting one flying lap in as fast as possible without other traffic being around. In fact, we're seeing faster times when the cars are all out together than we are in single lap qualifying. But a chance for us to look back at the highlights of qualifying here in Fontana to see exactly who was setting the pace and who is looking good for the $1 million prize that's on offer for winning the race here. On track at the moment in final qualifying here at Fontana, the California Speedway, it's Christian Fittipaldi. We've seen Alonso Jr. go fastest of the drivers who've been on circuit so far, but remember, they run in reverse order to the times that they've done in the practice sessions throughout the weekend. So we are building up to see the fastest of the weekend coming out last in qualifying. Christian Fittipaldi, meanwhile, sort of midfield runner in practice so far this weekend, and he's just about to go on to his first flying lap. He's just done a couple of warm-up laps, and now he goes on to the flying lap.
And first time around, their second quickest for Christian Fittipaldi, 31.674. That's only 2/100ths of a second slower than Alonso Jr.
Impressive performance, and interesting to note that, of course, both Alonso Jr. and Christian Fittipaldi run on the Goodyear tyre, and Goodyear seem pretty excited about things for this weekend.
They certainly do, Ben. They had a very good test here right before the last race at Surfers Paradise. Michael Andretti ran here with Newman Haas Racing, and he was absolutely thrilled with the tyres that Steve Orlando's group had come up with for Goodyear.
And he's gone fastest. Fittipaldi's matched and beaten the time of Alonso Jr. He's only some 4/1000ths of a second faster than Alonso Jr., but it's enough to put him fastest overall. So Christian Fittipaldi is our new provisional pole sitter, but we've had 13 out of the 28 cars to take part in this qualifying so far. Still plenty of cars due out on circuit, and there's one of the more important ones. Alex Zanardi's just beginning to warm up. Meanwhile, down in the pits there is the car of the driver who's been fastest so far this weekend. Greg Moore set a blinding lap this morning at over 240 miles an hour average. But to do that, he had a pretty healthy tow from some of the other cars.
That's right. They've certainly tried to slow the cars down this year, if you believe. He still does 240 miles an hour. But, you know, last year in qualifying here, Mauricio Gugelmin was well over 240 miles an hour on his own in qualifying. And as Ben said there, the draft is so much important this year, much more important this year with this Handford device, this new low downforce, high drag rear wing that really does create some kind of a vacuum almost behind the car. And when you get into that slipstream, it really sucks you forward and you can pick up 5, 6, 7 miles an hour.
This is the second race where the Handford wing, as it's been called, is being used. This wing reduces downforce, increases drag, but when the cars are running on their own, as they are here in qualifying, of course there's no vacuum from a car in front to help them. So the speeds tend to be a little lower. Top speed average we've seen so far, just over 230 miles an hour. 10 miles an hour different to the top average from Greg Moore earlier.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And yesterday afternoon, the best speed that we saw was 236 miles an hour. So they found some time this morning. Track conditions this morning, absolutely perfect. Beautiful, crisp, clear conditions here. Not too hot, not too humid. In fact, very little humidity. And absolutely perfect for fast lap times. But the drivers reckoned yesterday maybe 232, 233 would be good enough for the pole.
So watching Alex Zanardi, no pole positions to his credit this year. The man who used to be the king of qualifying towards the end of 96, start of 97 seasons. This year he hasn't taken a single pole. Was very disappointed not to have the chance to go for pole in Australia in the last race. Well, let's see what he can do here. Slightly different proposition, of course, on the super speedway. A 31.824 for his first flying lap. That puts him 6th, and he needs to find a little bit more pace to put himself onto provisional pole, with still some fast cars due to come out here.
Yeah, 0.2 of a second is all he needs to move up from 6th to 1st. That's how close this group is at the moment. And you can see there that graphic on the screen. If he maintains the form, the speed through turn 3 to the checkered flag, that's where he would end up. Well, we'll see.
Across the line, and it puts him 6th fastest. 6th fastest for Alex Zanardi. Little disappointing, I would think, for him. A 31.824, an average speed of 229 miles an hour. Now, Alex Zanardi leaves this form of racing to go Formula 1 next year. His position will be taken by the Colombian driver, Juan Pablo Montoya. Montoya, the reigning Formula 3000 champion of this year, is here in Fontana this weekend, getting a little bit of a taste for exactly how the series works, and he's had his first test. Let's go and hear from Juan Pablo Montoya.
Juan Pablo Montoya, who just watched that lap. You said maybe Alex would do a 234, but 229, that's pretty fast. Can you imagine yourself doing that here in a very short period of time?
I'm gonna have to, actually, and a bit quicker than that, I hope.
Now, you've tested at Homestead on the oval and the road course. Your first impressions of these cars?
They're pretty good, you know. I would say so far it's been quite easy to drive. And I think especially in the oval, it's going to be a bit harder when you start getting closer to the limit of the car. Road course was no problem, you know, I'm used to that. The car was fun to drive, so I enjoyed it quite a lot.
Well, he's also been thrown in the frying pan a few times by his owner, Chip Ganassi. Keeps introducing him to everyone. Says, here, sign autographs with my new driver. Let's check in with Gary Gerald.
Well, from a rookie to one of the veterans, a man who probably has as much 500-mile experience as anybody, Al Unser Jr. Al, I know that you're not really happy with a solid 230 run, but by the same token, you've been working very hard to try to run at race pace, which you think will be important tomorrow, correct?
Definitely. We've been working on the car for the race. You know, we've had some reliability problems with it this season, and really the guys have really done a super job as far as getting it reliable. We feel very confident about that, and so we wanted to go out there and try to get near the front of the field just for the traffic at the beginning of the race, because we're going to be in a group of cars the entire race all day long, and so the draft is going to be a big part, but we wanted to try to get up near the front, and if we can do that, then we get more of a chance of hanging with the lead group, being a part of that lead draft and doing the lead changes.
Going to be hard work for you. Going to be fun for us to watch. Wish you well tomorrow.
Thank you.
On track. On track at the moment is Jimmy Vasser, and his first warm-up, his second warm-up lap is faster than anyone else has achieved. He's just coming round to complete his first flying lap. Vassar goes fastest by a big margin, 31.301, a full 0.3 of a second faster than anyone else has managed so far. 233 miles an hour, his average speed.
Well, that's amazing. That came out of nowhere. Presumably, he would have had the same setup, or certainly very similar to the one that was on Alex Zanardi's car, and Alex was only the last car out on the racetrack, so they really wouldn't have had time to change the setup for Jimmy Vassar. And here he is, what, 4 miles an hour faster right away?
Yeah, that's incredible. Across the line he goes. The second lap is just 0.02 of a second slower than the previous, but it's still a margin ahead of Christian Fittipaldi, who's pushed back to second. Unser, who's now third. Patrick Carpentier in fourth place. Then Barron, Castroneves and Zanardi, who lines up in 7th position so far, still with plenty of fast cars due to come out.
As you saw there, Alex Barron there still stands 5th now. We've had 15 cars out, actually 16 including Dennis Vitolio, who dropped down. But a good effort there by Jimmy Vassar.
Yeah, and Alex Zanardi perhaps a little disappointed to see himself so far down, but he'll be happy to see Vassar well up. The Della Penna team, best start this year, in fact, on a super speedway, when he started in 3rd place at Michigan. Also had a good run there.
And there is a good run again here too, 31.377, so that's only 7/100ths of a second slower than Jimmy Vassar. Second quickest so far. Richie Hearn, he comes off turn 2 there, nice clean line. You can see he wasn't using all of the racetrack, and he looks very tidy as he comes into turn 3 there. Hardly any movement on the steering wheel, Ben.
No, that's right. Another impressive performance on a super speedway from Richie Hearn. Let's see whether this second flying lap is any improvement on a 31.377. No, it's not. A 31.390, a fraction slower on his second time lap, but he is second fastest. It's an American 1-2 at the moment. Jimmy Vassar fastest, Richie Hearn second, then the Brazilian Christian Fittipaldi in third. Alonso Jr. is pushed back to 4th, Carpentier 5th, Barron still up there in 6th place, Castroneves 7th, 8th for Zanardi, 9th for Ribeiro, and JJ Leto in 10th. Half a second difference between Jimmy Vassar and Alex Zanardi. Let's go down to the Ganassi pit and find out what's happened.
Vassar, Alex was first out to 229 plus, and your teammate was able to find a lot more. Do you have a specific problem?
Oh, he's a better driver on the ovals. I don't know. No, really, he was a little braver than me. Probably took less wind than what I did, and I thought what I chose was the right thing, but I wasn't obviously right, and he was more right than me. I really wish him to keep the position he's got right now.
Yeah, well, what do you assess the chances, Jimmy? Because we saw the big numbers this morning with everybody getting the tow and the draft. You've got a real nice number now here at 233 plus.
Yeah, but there's an awful lot of fast cars to come. I mean, that's about what we expected we could run, and you know, it's just a matter of seeing if it'll hold up. So we couldn't take any more wing out of it, and I was flat on the accelerator, so we'll see.
We've got a pretty strong breeze blowing here in Southern California today. Is that any kind of a factor for qualifying?
What you gain on one end with the tailwind, you lose with a headwind. So I think it averages out as long as it's blowing up and down the straightaways. If it starts to blow across the corners, then it makes it more tricky. But I don't think it's much of a disadvantage for anybody.
So the waiting game is underway now for Jimmy Vassar, and we'll keep an eye on you tomorrow, pal. Champ, 1998.
Thank you.
So Vassar and Zanardi, the two of them comparing notes. Out on track at the moment, taking the green flag is Scott Pruitt. As you can see, his best start this year, 3rd place at Portland. Now a road course, of course, very different to the super speedway. We were just looking at the speed trap figures there, and across the start-finish line, a very impressive performance for Richie Hearn with the Ford engine, 237 miles per hour.
Yeah, very good split through turn 1 and 2 as well at 228. So he was running very quickly indeed. Here's Scott Pruitt. You can just listen to that engine note above my voice perhaps. But he hardly scrubs any speed at all through turns 3 and 4.
And he's gone fastest, Jeremy. He's taken the provisional pole from Jimmy Vassar by just, again, 0.005 of a second, a tiny margin, but that's all it takes. And Pruitt now has gone to the top of the timesheets. Vassar's pushed back down to 2nd. Richie Hearn is pushed back down to 3rd. And it's certainly the American racers, the oval specialists, who seem to be performing well so far.
And you were on board with their great shots from on board that Vistian Reynard Ford Cosworth. Fast turn tires, of course, for Scott Pruitt. And his second lap around is quicker again. 31.249, 233.748 miles per hour.
A very impressive run indeed for the Patrick Racing machine. of Scott Pruitt. His last race with this team. He'll be switching to the Arturo Wells team next year. And indeed, they announced a sponsorship package with Pioneer for Scott Pruitt's car with Arturo Wells for next year. But to finish off the season, it would be great to see Scott Pruitt start from pole position. There are still a number of fast cars due to come out, including the likes of Paul Tracy, Dario Franchitti, Bobby Rahal, Michael Andretti, Brian Herter and Greg Moore. So this could all still change. Stay with us. Adrian Fernandez is now on track in this final qualifying, the only qualifying, of course, single car qualifying for the Super Speedway here in California. Adrian Fernandez is still in with an outside chance of second place in the championship. We're concentrating more on the battle between Jimmy Vasser and Dario Franchitti because they are closer in terms of points. Dario on 160 points, Vasser on 148, but Fernandez has 142 points and therefore is still in with a fake chance of second place.
That's true. He's it's 18. He really has to win the race to get up into second place.
Oh, he's lost it!
But there goes Fernandez.
Oh dear, oh dear. And I think, in fact, a lot of speed. He managed to get a fair bit of speed wiped off before he hit the wall, but still a pretty heavy impact.
And that's good news. You can see him immediately flicks the visor up there, and he seems to be fine inside that car. But you know, Adrian Fernandez, he was going for a clean sweep of the Super Speedway poles this year, of course. He had his first pole at Michigan Speedway in July, and he was looking very, very good. Indeed, that warm-up lap was a 31.366. That was good enough for third place, only a tenth slower than his teammate Scott Pruitt. So Adrian Fernandez there really pushing hard and paying the price.
Well, we heard Scott Pruitt say how the car was dancing around a little bit in these conditions with the wind, and perhaps Adrian took a bit more of a gamble on the wing setup. Bang into the wall. That was the major impact that ripped the rear wing off. The secondary impact then ripping the left rear suspension off the car virtually, and then it came round again. Another replay from the overhead view here. Watch the back end of the car start to slide, and once it goes at that sort of speed, he's doing 230 miles an hour pretty much on the exit there as it goes away from him, and really very fortunate that the car went in at that trajectory and not as hard as it could have done.
That's very true, Ben. And here's another angle on that car. There's no we have a look at it. He comes off turn 2 there, tracks up towards the wall, and no signs of any mechanical problems there. All of a sudden that back end just steps around, and you know, the wind is kind of blowing along that back straight there, and we look at the flags behind our booth here in turn 4, and as you come onto that back straight off turn 2, you really sort of lose the lee, so to speak, of the wind that is hidden behind, if you like, behind the motorhomes and so on down there, and you come onto the back straight and it really catches the car, and maybe that's what happened to Adrian Fernandez.
Yes, quite possible. That breeze really is blowing quite strongly, and Fernandez caught out sadly there. As we look down, there's Pat Patrick on the right-hand side of the picture in the red cap, and obviously disappointment for the team, seeing Pruitt fastest, but Fernandez, who seemed to be heading for at least provisionally the first 2 rows of the grid, even with that warm-up lap he'd previously done. Now, of course, he will be starting right at the back of the field, and that's a great disappointment.
And there they are, there's the backup car there. Then Mike Sales and crew already getting that car out onto the pit lane, and if there is time at the end of this session, that's probably debatable at this stage, he will have maybe be able to go for one more lap. But here's Mauricio Gugelmin.
When there's a crash on the racetrack, how does that affect you when you're getting ready for qualifying?
Well, I'm not going out right now. Still, there is a few cars ahead of me, and by the time I go, it will be clean. So the safety people, they do a great job, and everybody's pushing to the limit. It's a little bit more breezy right now, so that's probably why it's catching some people out.
Now, what have you guys done to your cars to get your speed back? Can you use the same kind of setup before they had the Hanford device that you had last year?
No, unfortunately, we had to change everything. Basically, this wing has changed completely the way you work with the car. And only here we found out what we should do, and now we're getting back to where we belong, basically.
Well, hopefully that will translate to 99. Thanks.
Thank you.
Let's get to Gary.
And with Paul Tracy, and Paul, you were concerned about boost. Was it lacking somehow for you on your run?
Well, I don't think the boost came all the way up, and we were, you know, having to mess with the switch to get it up, and I don't know the exact reason, but they kept telling me to click the boost up 3 more clicks on each lap, and I just think we were down on boost, and with this Hanford device, you got to have all the power you can make to push the car through the air, and you know, you're splitting hairs. So it's I think we're gonna have a pretty good spot on the grid, and the car's handling well, so you know, we'll go from here.
Of course, you're making news in an unfortunate area this week in the disciplinary action. I've got to ask you about that. Your reaction to the fact that you're going to be forced to miss season opening race starting out a new championship hut come March next year.
Well, I'm thinking about this race, and we've got 5 months to iron that out. Obviously, we have some telemetry that says different. We're going to talk about that with Wally and the people from CART. So, you know, we've got a long time to work it out.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Fairly diplomatic answer there from Paul Tracy. There's the positions so far. Pruitt fastest, Vassar second, Hearn is third, Blundell fourth, Fittipaldi fifth, Tracy himself in sixth place. But still some fast cars, so stay with us here for qualifying. Circuit now in the Swift chassis. Andretti, who had a very strong run going here last year, only to have problems which put him down the order. But Michael now very confident with the Goodyear tyre that he tested just before he went out to Australia. And second warm-up lap, 31.6. That would put him in around 7th position.
Yeah, and here he is on the back straight and moves away from the wall, give himself a little bit of room there, check the gauges, and just eases the car into turn 3, down towards the white line, lets the car drift up on the exit a little bit. Actually doesn't use up nearly so much road as most of the other drivers there, coming off turn 4, and down again past the start-finish line, and there is the white flag, and third fastest for Michael Andretti, 31.372.
Well, a good performance straight away from Michael Andretti. Second flying lap, this could be enough. Can he beat the time that Jimmy Vassar and Scott Pruitt have got just ahead of him? He needs to find just over a 1/10 of a second to beat Scott Pruitt's fastest time of the day so far. Forward power for Andretti, exactly as for Scott Pruitt, but Goodyear tyres for Michael Andretti in the Swift chassis. Let's see if this lap's going to be any better for Michael as he crosses the line. The second lap is slower. It's a 31.380. Andretti stays in third place, but certainly this battle is hotting up at the front of the field. It's Pruitt, Vassar, Andretti, Hearn, Rahal are top 5 positions. Let's go down to the pits now.
Big grin, everybody happy. You're solidly 5th right now, 232 plus, and you're telling me you changed the aero package a little bit for this attempt?
Yeah, we kind of winged it a little bit. Took a fair amount of wing out of the thing, took some gurney out of it, and made a change. What the heck, what have you got to lose? And the car was actually the best it's been all week, so the car felt real solid. I think we lost a little bit in the headwind going down into 3, but overall I'm very pleased.
I know that you have got to have talked yourself out this year with the last ride, and Tommy Blackler was telling us a while ago, over 100 interviews this week alone, and all along you've been saying when you get to Saturday night of your last race, you don't know if you're going to actually be able to sleep. Thought about that yet?
I'm pretty worn out. I think I'll sleep. Has it only been 100 interviews? It seems like a lot more, but it's been fun so far, and I'm pleased that we got a good qualifying run in. I'm very happy with it. I think it gives us a good start for the race, and I just hope everybody has a good, safe race tomorrow. It's going to be wild. There's going to be a lot of passing, so just hope it all hangs together.
We're looking forward to it. Wish you well, Bob. Thanks.
Thank you, Gary.
His teammate Brian Herter out on track at the moment. Indeed, Bobby is collecting money for charities this weekend. He's set up a scheme where fans can join in for $25 minimum contribution. They can sign the side pods on his car, and hopefully we'll get a view of that on the onboard camera in the race tomorrow. Minimum contribution $25. It goes to the Rahal Foundation, which contributes to various charities. And that's a nice move. Good to see that in his last race.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a big contributor to the sport and to humankind, let's say, really throughout his career, has Bobby Rahal. And the Bobby Rahal Foundation, set up at the beginning of this season, has raised an awful lot of money for a lot of charities all around the country during this Rahal's last ride celebration.
Well, his teammate Brian Herter's out there at the moment. He's on his first flying lap at the moment, and as you can see from the graphic, doesn't look like this one's going to be a particularly fast lap, although his second warm-up lap, a 31.8. Well, yeah, that would have put him in about 14th, 15th place, so Herter needs to find a bit more speed here from somewhere. Crosses the line, his first time lap, 31.8, that puts him in 16th position. Perhaps he didn't decide to take the same gambles that Bobby had decided on in terms of reducing the amount of downforce.
Certainly looks that way. Certainly he has the same package exactly as does Scott Pruitt, who is sitting on the pole at the moment. Reynard, Ford Cosworth and Firestone tyres, and looks like maybe Not much improvement here on a second lap either. At the moment, it looks like to be a little bit slower as well. In fact, his warm-up lap was actually the quickest of his laps all through. But we just pick up a little bit coming off turn 3 and 4 that final time. 31.766, but only 15th on the grid. That's a big disappointment for Brian Herder.
Does put him one place ahead of Alex Zanardi, though. Zanardi finds himself pushed down to 16th position now after not getting in a fairly decent time earlier on. It's Scott Pruitt looking for his first pole since Michigan last year. Can he do it here in Fontana? Still a couple more to go. So Scott Pruitt takes pole position here in Fontana, his first pole for nearly over a year, and we've got 5 Americans in the top 5 places, with Vassar second, Andretti third, then Richie Hearn and Bobby Rahal. The 2-pack West cars of Guterman and Blundell, followed by Franchitti, Moore, De Ferran, then Fittipaldi, Tracy, Alonso Jr., Patrick Carpentier. Good effort from Alex Barron in 15th, then Castro Neves, Brian Herter, and following them Zanardi, Ribeiro, JJ Leto, Arndt Meyer, Gordon, Canaan, Papis, Jourdain, Sospiri, Fernandez, and Vitolo.
Well, Adrian Fernandez, it looked as though Dale Coyne was going to let you go first to have a chance, but the clock ran out. How much of a disadvantage now starting at the back?
To be honest, I don't think it's that much of a disadvantage here in a 500-mile race. Unfortunately, we were trying to get we were going for the pole because we needed the point. It didn't happen, but I think we have a good car, and I think we can still win the race from the back. So it doesn't really matter where we started right now.
Well, if you did, it'd be tremendously exciting. Thanks.
Exactly.
Gary?
Well, Greg, I know there were high expectations coming to this qualifying moment. You're going to be starting back on the 5th row. Is that a huge disappointment?
No, I'm not disappointed at all. I mean, we always work on a race car, and that's most important part for tomorrow. So, I'm pleased. We're 6 spots ahead of where we qualified in Michigan, so make my job a little bit easier tomorrow.
We look forward to it. Thanks.
Thanks.
So Greg Moore starts back on that 5th row of the grid, and you'll be able to watch all the action with us as we see the finale to the season. $1 million on offer to the race winner of the Kart Championship Series 500 here from Fontana in California. A tremendous race in prospects, and with Scott Pruitt and Jimmy Vassar on that front row together. Of course, good shape for Vassar, looking for 2nd place in the championship. This has been Ben Edwards and Jeremy Shaw. Thank you for joining our coverage today. Make sure you join us again tomorrow. But for now, bye-bye.